Good morning, guys. While I'm waiting for this store to open, had some really big reminders for you guys. Two really exciting interviews I got upcoming. I want to share with you and remind you to tune in. But between yesterday afternoon and this morning, I was reminded myself of a few important things that I wanted to share with you. Mostly positive, but this morning something really, really sad. 4 weeks ago, not too far from where I am right now, maybe an hour, in Daytona Beach, Florida. 26-year-old police officer, Jason Raynor, shot in the head. We've been praying for him and hoping he pulls through, but he died yesterday. It just strikes me because my son-in-law is 26 and he's an officer right here in Central Florida. And the nicest kid you ever want to meet. When he asked for my permission to marry my daughter, I was blessed. There's no one else I could think of that I would. I used to say I wanted Tim Tebow, but to marry my daughter back in the day, she used to laugh. But once I met Mikey, this is my daughter's husband, I knew he was the one for her that I prayed, because before our children were born, and this is, young people out there who are expecting a child or have young child, start praying for their spouse now. We prayed for all our children's spouses while they were safely tucked in their mother's womb, growing. It just really saddens me, because I see my daughter's face when she hears about stuff like this. And you hear about, now it's a thing, with Black Lives Matter, telling people to kill cops. This is like the thing. And this is what this guy said. This guy admits, he was listening to Black Lives Matter, and he just hated cops. He said he was going to kill the first cop he came across. This is why he killed him, because he was a cop. That was it. This is what they're doing. It's all over. And in these Democrat-run cities, it's Daytona's got a good chief, and they back their police down here. This is a red state. We back our police, but it's still dangerous. I can't imagine. I see why there's an exodus of cops in New York City and LA and all these Democrat-run states, because when you have the mayors back in Black Lives Matter, like Joe Biden is back in Black Lives Matter, and you have the Democrats putting these prosecutors. This new prosecutor in New York City just said he doesn't want it to be a crime to resist arrest. Already, De Blasio and Cuomo already got this no bail, so you can go and shoot somebody and they can't keep you in jail. There's no bail, because they say that's racist, because black people can't come up with bail. So the Democrats' no bail policy. And these prosecutors that don't want to prosecute criminals, literally this new prosecutor just said yesterday, I don't think it should be a crime, resisting arrest. I mean, these people are sick. These people are sick that are running this country right now. We got to take it back, through the voting booths. This is how we take it back. But, and then it reminded me, how I met Timothy Gordon. I only came back to the Catholic Church 6 years ago, and I was aware there was a lot of liberals, infiltrated the Catholic Church, and, they were Catholic in name only, trying to take us down, just like they infiltrate every other organization, sports and entertainment. And but I wasn't focused on them. I was focused just on the real Catholics, like Cardinal Pell and Cardinal Burke, who we need to pray for. He's in a really serious condition, as the last time I checked, and we really need to pray for a miracle. I'm really hoping and believing that God's going to miraculously heal Cardinal Burke, because he's an important voice in this day and age that we need to hear. I was focusing on great Catholic philosophers like Peter Kreeft, great theologians like Pope Benedict, great converts, theologians, scholars like Scott Hahn. These were the guys I was focused on. I wasn't focused on these libs that infiltrated our church. But then I was forced to when I read a newspaper article that Timothy Gordon, a Catholic high school teacher, was fired because he tweeted out the truth about Black Lives Matter, you know, and everything he said is true. They're a communist organization. These are sick people that are calling for not only the defunding of the police department, but the killing of cops. They chant, you know, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them? Right now. You know, pigs in a blanket, fry them up. These are the Black Lives Matter chants that they chant, you know. And I made a couple of videos, you know, this is what groups do. You could say, save little kittens from being strangled, but you could be out there strangling kittens. So you don't listen to what people say, watch what they do. And so I had Timothy Gordon on, a great guest. We asked him to come on a second time because I realized he was a theology teacher, and he really knew his theology, so we brought him on a second time. So I'm reminded about all these blessings that God has given us. And so I want to remind you, we have two more great guests, one on this channel. Father Jeremiah Hahn will be on tonight. We're going to record it about 5, and I'll upload it shortly after there. You know, sometimes it takes a while to upload. Sometimes it's quick. So just tune in tonight. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified. And then on my other channel, I can't put him on this channel because we'll take him down, but I have a researcher, and he's going to talk about the sickness that's going around now, how to protect yourselves. And this guy is not only a researcher, he's a scientist, he's an entrepreneur, he's a rancher. I've known him for over 10 years. I consider him a friend and a brother in the Lord. I believe he's Baptist, you know, he's some kind of Protestant, but he's still our brother in the Lord, you know. And but the thing that most impressed me, and I got to know his wife because I used to deliver it to one of his stores. He also owns a vitamin company. There's only a vitamin manufacturing company. There's only like 5 manufacturers of vitamins. Most people just relabel other people's products. This guy actually manufactures his own. Very interesting man. But what really interests me and what really made me want to pick this guy's brain is talking to his family about how, I think it's been like 30 years, that he was put in the hospice with stage 4 cancer, and they told him he had 3 weeks to live. And being the researcher he researched how to cure himself without drugs, without chemo, and he's been cancer-free. He's been cancer-free for 30 years, and he's helped other people with this dreaded disease. So I'm gonna talk about that as well. So it's gonna be an interesting guest. But what he has to say isn't mainstream, so I'm afraid to put him on this channel. So I actually created a channel just for him on Rumble. As soon as this store opens, I gotta run, guys, so I don't know if I'll put the link in, but sometime today, check back. I'm gonna have the link because you don't want to miss this. And this one's gonna be live, and he's also was a successful radio show host amongst all the other things this guy's done. He actually had speaking of Daytona Beach, he had the #1 rated show in Daytona Beach, and we'll talk about that. Interest in why they took down the #1 show in Daytona Beach. He has some interesting things to say about that as well. But like I said, check back later. I'll put it in the link, and you can check on that channel. And it's kind of funny because I was kind of getting discouraged. I think I only got like half a dozen subscribers over there. And then I was reminded when I started this one, I didn't even look at it, didn't even know what a subscriber was. And next thing I know, my kids are telling me, Dad, you got like 1,000 subscribers. And I was like, oh, no way. Holy crap. So, if it's God's will that succeeds, that's going to be like my political and current events channel. I'm trying to stay away from politics here, but with what's going on, it's so hard, The last 2 videos were political in nature, but, with what's going on, it's really hard not to. But, another great reminder I had yesterday, I'm driving to one of my stops, and I seen this woman sleeping on the ground, a homeless woman. I see her every week. Actually a very friendly, nice woman, sleeping on the ground, always seems happy. Literally sleeping on the sidewalk under a shade tree. There's like a really big oak tree, and she gets really great shade. You can imagine Florida in the midday, it gets hot, so she usually takes a nap. I get there about 2, and she's napping under the shade tree. And usually I go by and I feel bad for her. But yesterday I was thinking, you know what? every single woman in Afghanistan today would switch places with this woman. Think about that. There are millions of women that to sleep under a tree on a sidewalk in America would be an answer to prayer. Never forget how great we have it here in America. Never forget the men and women who have given their lives in sacrifice so we could live in the greatest country on earth. Never forget the dead bodies that held up the American flag at Fort McHenry, which inspired our national anthem. When you stand for that national anthem, never forget the men in Afghanistan that gave their life. So we're not worried about terrorists. The experts said we're going to get terrorist attacks every week after 9/11. They're coming to get us. But what the experts didn't know was we had the greatest military in the world that shut them down. Never forget Petty Officer Michael Mansour, who jumped on a hand grenade to save his brothers in the SEALs and his brothers in the Iraqi army. Never forget that. This is what I want to remind you of. Never forget that our Constitution was based on this, that we are endowed by certain inalienable rights from God. No government gave us our rights, so no government can take it away. Our rights come from God. And these rights, number one, is the right to life, then the right to liberty, then the right to pursue happiness. And right now they're trying to take away all these rights. But if we don't get the first one right, the right to life, nothing else is gonna stand. So please, I want to remind you, go to realestateforlife.org if you are buying or selling real estate. And speaking of right to life, I just had a viewer tell me what a great experience she had dealing with our realtors, and then I seen the donation that was given by the realtor, his cut of his commission, and I was shocked. It's quite a bit of money, and she chose the National Right to Life organization, and I was just blessed. I actually, I got a little emotional. I get a little emotional at times. I don't know why. I could break a hand and keep working and not even think about it, but certain things, hit my head, and I just cry like a baby. So forgive me sometimes when I get on here and get a little emotional. But that got me emotional. I was like, wow. Sometimes I think I'm talking and nobody's listening, but by the grace of God, this woman was able to help out the right to life. So I'm very thankful, very thankful. I think I had other things to remind you, but it looks like this store is about to open. I see people by the door unlocking it. So I'm going to run. And like I said, check back later to see that link for Rumble. And tonight, check in. We're gonna record it at 5. We're not going live. Live's a little difficult. I'm doing live with that researcher and that scientist on Rumble only because that's what he prefers. He's like, no, I want people to call in. He says, that's what, I love that stuff. So I actually scheduled it for this past Monday, but I couldn't get it right. I'm not really good with the live stuff. So hopefully, Lord willing, we'll do it this coming Monday. And we'll go live, please. And any questions you got on health, on this sickness that's going around now, how to protect yourself, this is the man. You will be so blessed. And he doesn't talk like some educated guy talking 100 feet above you. This guy's from Texas. He's a rancher, but man, he knows his stuff. He has the data. He knows how to interpret the data. He knows the scientists and doctors. And you are gonna be surprised what this guy has to tell you is gonna blow your mind. So that's Monday. I don't know, today's Wednesday, so 5 days, go to that one. But tonight, you definitely want to see Dr. Scott Hahn. And that's another thing I'm reminded of. I have a lot of people email me, they might have a spouse or a son or a daughter or a parent that is either an atheist, agnostic, anti-Catholic, Protestant. A lot of people have relatives that are really anti-Catholic, And I'm reminded, 7 years ago, I was anti-Catholic. And my guest today is a priest, a holy priest, a good priest, on fire. Wait do you hear this man talk? 30 years old, sold out for Jesus. And his father is Dr. Scott Hahn, who was the biggest anti-Catholic. He was a Presbyterian minister who would teach people that the Catholic Church is the whore of Babylon. Now he's one of our greatest theologians in the church, and he raised a son to become a holy Catholic priest. And he has another son in seminary that will be a priest shortly. So never give up. You know, I tell people, ask me, well, how do I convert a loved one? You love them. Don't preach to them, you know. I always say, the greatest thing is this quote, and I'm not going to say who said it, because every time I quote, they say, no, this saint said it, and then someone else says, no, this saint said it. So I don't know who said this, but it's a great quote. You know, the quote goes like this: always preach the gospel. And if you have to use words, in other words, just live your life. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your wife as Christ loved the church. Love your husband. Love your children. Let them see Christ in you, you know. And, you know, just trust God that in his time, he will change hearts and minds. Like I said, I got Father Jeremiah Hahn coming on, and his father used to hate the Catholic Church. Think about that. Not only is Jeremiah Hahn going to lead so many souls to salvation, but he has other kids, and he has 20 grandkids. Look at that legacy, that Catholic heritage from one man who got changed. And anyone that knew him before he was Catholic would have said, that's the last guy that's going to become Catholic. You know, me, myself, at 12 years old, I was robbing cars and selling drugs. Who would think that God would have changed my life? And here I'm preaching the gospel. God is God, man. He's real. This is no joke. We don't serve some mute idol. We serve a living God that does miracles. He's the same God today that he was yesterday and that he'll be tomorrow. The same God that raised Lazarus lives in you. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So no matter how bleak it looks, just trust God and just ask him for his peace. Ask God to fill you with his Holy Spirit, to baptize you afresh in his Holy Spirit. And then get that Eucharist, adore that Eucharist, and let him feed you with his flesh and blood. Hey guys, I gotta run. God bless. Stay Catholic.